Mr. Bors and Mr. Mord were all very proud of the goods they received from the Freya family, the war game rewards, and spent money generously. I looked at Mr. Bors and the others drinking wine and looking very excited, and smiled bitterly. At this time, he said, with this kind of behavior, the reward will be spent soon. It's not difficult to imagine them immediately. He just kept his head worried. Pay no attention to them. We can taste victory at our own pace. The elf's ally. Mr. Luvis, the elf, walked in served with ice and a glass of clean water. I felt a little itchy and touched it lightly with my cup. I am not mature enough to get drunk on the wine of victory, but now I can also share the joy with those who fought. The food is ready, meow. The wine is insufficient, meow. With the help of Mr. Luvis, I got rid of Mr. Mord's group, and then I saw the clerks who looked extremely busy walking in front of me. The current layout of the fertility host is different from the usual, taking the form of a standing meal. The chairs are all arranged, creating a space with a feeling of openness, or rather, only this shape can accommodate everyone. Although the participants were only factions closely related to the Hestia family, this was not the case. For example, there were also residents and others. Among the people who fought together in the war game, people who had a close relationship with us and gods, everyone came here. That's probably how it feels. Leaving aside the meetings attended by the gods, it is probably rare for so many members of different factions to come and go. Uka, Chigusa and Asuka. Thank you so much for coming to the war game to help. No, you said that before. It's better to say that I couldn't help at the critical moment. I'm sorry. After all, we were shot down following Dapn's orders. Wait a minute. Don't make it seem like I was the killer. Wasn't it that I was completely knocked down by the Black Demon Sword? Little Daphne, calm down. When I came to the Takamikazuchi family, to express my gratitude, Miss Chigusa waved her hands in panic, and Mr. Uka expressed his reluctance with a bitter look on his face. Miss Daphne screamed as if she would spit out her wine at any moment. Seeing Miss Cassandra desperately comforting her, I struggled to suppress her smile and then looked to the side. Miss Naza, Mr. Mayak, where is the broken prosthetic hand? It doesn't matter, we also got money, it should be enough to make a new, silver arm. Although I still can't pay off the previous debt, it doesn't matter, that is, the positive and negative balance comes out. Guys, this should be considered a huge profit. Ms. Naza, who had her right wrist tied, and Mr. Mayak showed a firm smile. I've heard before that their silver arm was broken in the war games, but now that I heard them say that, I couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. Before, I even thought that if it didn't work out, I would simply stay in the dungeon until I earn enough money to pay for the prosthetic hand. Although I feel uncomfortable giving money to Ermid and the others, but Mayak is right, the rewards are already plentiful. Not to mention that I upgraded to level 3. So congratulate me. But how can I not fight against monsters? I can't be of much use. Obviously, the experience points gained from level upgrade will be halved. According to Miss Naza, there are many other people who have achieved sublimation, mainly Samira, Reina and other Amazon fighters. In addition to the remuneration and reputation of the war game, great results were also achieved in this aspect. The unexpected news took me by surprise and I realized once again how outrageous the opponents I fought were. Bell Cranel. Don't you need to come by and say hello? After all, you were the most seriously injured and fought until the end. Stop wandering and sit tight. But I still want to thank the people who helped us and say, thank you. After all, that battle was so powerful. I resolved my inner mood and answered the goddess Hephaestus seriously in words. Saying hello is not a moral act, but rather conveying my inner thoughts. Seeing me like this, Lady Hephaestus looked at me kindly at first, then suddenly frowned and said to me, "Then let Hestia do it. She is the main god." Helplessly, I couldn't help but go back to, "Yes, yes," and I straightened up. I said goodbye and left the smiling god Takamikazuchi and the others, and went to the others to greet them. Among this large group of mostly adventurers, there was no sign of Miss Ina. It seems that the female guild employees are not suitable to participate in this type of adventure or faction meeting. Furthermore, Lord Hermes and the others are not here either. The other side didn't come because they weren't directly involved in the war game. Instead, they sent expensive wine and the message, "Enjoy the victory party." In addition to Mr. Hermes and the others, there are also Mr. Fells, Mr. Finn, Miss Tiona and Miss Tioni. People who are not here also helped me a lot. Ace too. She cheered for you until her voice was hoarse. Her voice is still very strange now, and she says she's embarrassed to see you. So when her voice improves, she'll go look for Argo-kun. Tiona also told me this about A's situation. Thanks to these people this scene is possible and should not be forgotten. It seems that I still cannot be complacent in thinking that this is a victory achieved only by ourselves. I didn't expect to have actually defeated the Freya Familia. I still can't believe it. Could it be that when I woke up, I discovered that everything was an illusion? Lily has always walked an incredible tightrope, going back and forth between hell and the underworld about 4 times. Lily will never do that kind of thing again. Absolutely never. Please calm down, Lily-sama. After saying hello, I returned to the table in the middle of the tavern and saw Miss Mikoto, who was still immersed in excitement. Lily and Miss Haruheim, who was trying her best to comfort her, were all talking. Even though she had won the war game, Lily still suffered from the nightmare of a death fight every night lately, but today she seemed to hate herself for not being able to get drunk. She has been avoiding alcohol since the sacred wine incident, but now she is probably thinking in her heart, how can I go on not drinking? After all, that battle was so powerful. I actually risked my life, thinking I would win anyway. The goddess reached out towards the food as if she was going to attack first. I shook my head, making me smile a little deeper. Yes, but that's right, I can understand what Lily said. If possible. I really don't want to remember this. The strongest in the city. Being beaten to rags, to pieces, or covered in bruises seems to have left a psychological shadow on me. Specifically, the smile on her face is reflexively twitching now. Well, that's not bad. Welf ignored Lily's tangle and took a sip of wine. Then he looked to the side. Why is the loser here too? Lily, who was determined not to look there, and we followed Welf's gaze. Turns out there were little human quadruplets holding large plates and lots of wine bottles. What happened to just serving? What happened to just the humiliation? This shame will never be forgotten. Unforgivable bell. Because I. For identical voices spoke with the same tone and my voice overlapped and I couldn't help but complain like I did when I was still Bell Cranel of the Freya family. The 4 Gulliver brothers, or Mr. Alfred, still wear scary sand-colored helmets and armor, with white aprons over them, and are doing waitress work. No, it's not just Mr. Alfred and the others, it's the entire Freya family. The fate and reward of the loser, this is our sin. The dinner slave is a foregone conclusion. No. The kitchen has enough manpower. Speaking of which, this tavern is very strange, almost as tired as the battle wilderness. I was afraid of being filled with rage and acting extremely suspiciously. Elf, Mr. Hogney's plea was easily rejected by the therapist, Miss Hythe, who gently moved the plates with vegetables in her arms. Although Miss Hythe looked very skilled, her eyes were the same as those seen in Battle Wilderness. Well, how should I say, they were the eyes of an extremely tired old man. Working is so easy compared to normal. Even if it's just a little bit. Losers go to work for the cats. Miss Luna and Miss Chloe laughed, looking happily at Mr. Alfred and Mr. H. Agni who were busy. Well, that's what actually happened. The Freya Familia began to take responsibility for forced labor during the party celebrating the alliance of factions that won the war game. After learning that Freya Familia had actually been disbanded, Mississippi Mia took the opportunity to drag the members along, especially the pot-bellied Cinderellas like Ms. Hythe to the tavern like hard workers. No, to be more precise, they should be forced to adhere to it. According to her, this stupid goddess does things with impunity. They beat the stupid girls here so much, this stupid family. You must compensate me well.